Gamer Feed Radio.
What's going on, everybody out there in podcast land? This is a special edition of Gamer Feed Radio. Hopefully everyone had a fantastically crazy week. My name is Nick Delacave. I'll be your host for this evening. And of course, I'm always accompanied by at least some grouping of fools. And today happens to be, well, we're very fortunate because one of the biggest ones is not here. But I've got on the line with me here the one and only, knows all the things, Rob Pugh. What's up, buddy?
Hello, how's it going?
You know, stuff and things. We're here, and there's music going on in the background. There's all kinds of fun things and sound effects and stuff that'll be going on periodically throughout this very family-friendly episode.
Oh, it'll be family-friendly, I can guarantee that.
Yes, I know that one AJ Shite would be
intense-
very pleased, and we won't have accidental F-bombs or anything like that. So we're bringing this to you kids, literally.
I had some intense language counseling during my time off.
Yes, the FCC
Lovely
pulled you
middle-aged
away.
divorcee named Deb. She taught me how to use my words and not my sailor talk.
Yes, you've
no
been
offense to the men
censored.
and women in uniform.
Censored by the government, and
Yes.
and that's good. So when you walk around, I'm just curious, when you walk around, do you have like one of those black censor bars over your face?
No. But if
Just
we want
his
to put
mouth.
together like a Kickstarter campaign, we might be able to get that going.
Could be fun. Could be fun. And they're also off in the distance. Joining us yet again this week is soon to be promoted to senior correspondent.
Clearly there's an opening.
Clearly there's an opening. One Dave Newman. Newman, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, I thought I was the one who knew it all, but I guess not.
Aw.
Oh, why you gotta...
Did he give your intro to me by mistake?
Yeah, I
think so.
clearly was reading it. I crossed the streams. I know they say not to do that in Ghostbusters, but...
Until they do it.
Until they do it, and then it works. But anyway, Newman's joining us via courtesy of a new device. Newman, you want to give us the funny story about what happened to your microphone?
Yeah, I had this nice Samsung one, but they said that the firmware was broken on it, and so it didn't work with Windows 10. And they refused to have a driver because they want to advertise it as driverless. So they sent me, I contacted customer support, and they sent me to this website that set off all of my antivirus and malware detection stuff. And then they wanted me to send the microphone back to them to send me a new one. So I just returned it and got a completely different microphone.
Yeah, that is excellent customer service. Which one was it that you got? Was it the Meteorite, right?
The Meteor.
Meteor. Yeah. Well, I mean, it worked well the last time when all we did was hear Brad talk for several hours, but yeah. Speaking of Brad is unable to join us this evening because of some personal items that needed to be addressed. I think that's the PC way of saying it. And Kyle, of course, is otherwise occupied, although he threatens he may accidentally join the call later on. We just don't know. And I can tell you from personal experience that a drunk Kyle is in fact a funny Kyle. But that said, even though this is a, quote, special episode and there's fun sound effects and things, here's one. Ooh! That's okay because the guys can't hear it until the actual recording comes out because we mix this live. And the stuff we're going to talk about today has absolutely nothing to do with Halloween at all. It's just fun. Okay, people? It's fun. Gosh.
But it is still timely, I like to think.
It is, in fact, timely, and we're very pleased to provide you with this very family-friendly, timely show. That said...
You've made your point.
I know, I try really hard. So a couple things just
I want to let you know I've let 2 nasty comments go so far. 2 potentially crude opportunities that I watched sail right past me.
Well,
I want you to know I am trying to be good.
I'm pleased
and
that
Andy
you're...
should know that I am trying to be good.
Oh, God. Anyway, so on deck today, I've got a little bit of a noobs feed because something kind of amazing happened last week. For those of you who clearly live under a rock, there was some Nintendo news, which we'll talk about shortly, followed by a fall preview. A little bit of some up-and-coming games, literally days and days away, some of them, and we'll talk through our impressions, thoughts, what we think we know, what we think we might like, etc. And then, if we have time, we'll slap some things in here about remakes. If not, it'll be a great follow-up. Shit. So, with that all having been said, I'm pretty sure that now it's time for the Noobs Feed. There's music playing. It's the Noobs Feed, where we talk about all the news noobs need to know. We know we say it, spell it wrong, so please don't write. Some of you haven't.
Not wrong.
God, please, yes, get the pun. So while that slowly fades off into the distance, in case you were totally checked out last week, some pretty impressive news occurred courtesy of the YouTubes, because if you tried to look at it on Nintendo's website, epic fail. Nintendo announced the Nintendo Switch. That was not really a sound effect built in, but anyway, they told us a bunch of things about it. So with that, I will turn first to just questioning the panel. Initial impressions. Doobid.
I want one.
Go
I want to know more about it. Well, they didn't show them touching the screen at any point, which was kind of big. They didn't show anybody under 20 playing it. So it seems like I'm part of their target audience again, since I'm not in a nursing home and not in preschool.
They care about you again. Your spending dollars matter, Newman.
No. They mattered the whole time.
They
That
never
Nintendo
stopped
wasn't
mattering.
doing well.
Very good. Mr. Pugh, your initial reactions, and please don't give us the old geezer skepticism, because you know you were excited for at least 2.3 seconds.
Well, I'm a lot more. We had our own chat basically the morning of, happening in real time as we were watching the
'Cause we're all
reveal
nerds,
video,
big
and
nerds.
yeah. Well, clearly, if we get together once a week to talk about video games, obviously we have some sort of vested interest that goes beyond simply recording times. But yeah, we were talking about it in chat, and I probably came across as being fairly negative on the whole thing. It's not negativism. It's just that I am I would imagine I'm the oldest of all of us. I'm certainly older than Nick is, but I've been doing this for longer. I've been burned more times, which I think is the big thing, especially when we're talking about Nintendo. But I'm excited for it, but there are a lot of things I don't know. The things that I don't know that I think I know the answers to, I'm not necessarily going to be happy about in the fullness of time, but I'll give them the chance to potentially prove me wrong. But yeah, it's kind of exactly what we kind of all knew it was going to be, because the specs and the copyright filings and all that stuff has been leaking from the manufacturers, from the copyright office, and all over the place. Everybody's talking about this. Everybody knows what's going on accurately, except for Nintendo, who is only just now letting us know about it. And even then, they've said since then. Yeah, well, even then they've clarified since the announcement went out that they're not going to say anything more about the games lineup, the price, the specs, any of that stuff for the rest of 2016.
So that blends very nicely into my next line of thinking, aside from the fact that you're a grumpy Gen Xer.
One more quick thing here.
Please.
Go ahead.
The one big thing that we don't know is if the docking station is going to have a coprocessor in it or not, because there was
It does not.
originally.
They
have not said that. They said the main function was going to be to put it on the TV, but they didn't say whether or not it was going to have any other function.
Interesting.
Okay, I didn't read that level of specificity. The implication I got from the articles I read was that it would not.
So what Newman
But,
said at
if
the
you're
top
saying
of the show about him maybe knowing more than you might be accurate, Rob.
Well, we don't need to make this a competition.
No, it's fine.
I'm just saying he detected a note of nuance there that I didn't. That's cool. I appreciate it. That's why we need Newman. That's why we need all of us, because we bring different perspectives to the table.
That is
Nicholas.
what the quote from Nintendo was, but it was reported.
Yeah,
it was reported Newman, as not having any other function.
You, Newman, me, and Kyle definitely bring perspective.
Is there a notable absence there?
Yeah, yes, a notable absence and an awkward pause for comedic effect.
I just want to make sure that he notes it when he goes back to listen to this, if he does.
Yeah, it's
he doesn't always.
Dripping sarcasm because we love him. We love him.
Yes. Brad, you suck. Just in case we weren't clear enough.
And that is a family-friendly way of saying it. So thank you. So let's rewind back, dial back those expectations just a wee bit. What do we know? What do we know? What's been told to us? Who would like to give the rundown? Share, or you can share.
We have not really been
told
go ahead. Anything. We have not really been told anything directly. We saw a video of people playing it. They used the two sides of the controller as two separate controllers.
Mm-hmm.
They took it with them to the park. There's local multiplayer.
Karen is the new meme.
At least within the Gamer Feed group.
Yeah, Karen.
She brings the one-player Mario game to the park
Karen's
when she's supposed to bring the dip or whatever.
So, but no, we actually. So, seriously now, Newman, you're making your know-it-all street cred shaky now. We do know some things about the processor and some other stuffs, correct?
Yeah, we knew it was based on the same one that was in the NVIDIA Shield tablet and Android TV.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll run, it ran the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 games that were originally 30 frames per second, 720p, and 1080p, which is, I think, 2.5 times as many pixels at 60 frames per second. So probably not quite PlayStation 4, Xbox One, but pretty good graphics.
Even though it's going to be, quote, souped up.
Right.
Theoretically. I mean, that's what they said.
Whatever souped up means.
Yeah, it's been specialized specifically for this, which, Nintendo does that for cost-saving purposes. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that, right? But you mentioned the controllers, right? So we know that they can be in a traditional controller format. Looks like there's a Pro controller. They slot onto the side of the tablet so that you can take it and go all the places and play it remotely. It's definitely a sleeker, slimmer, more modern-looking device as compared to the Wii U controller.
Or the purple lunchbox.
Now, give the purple lunchbox some love. Come on. It was not that terrible. I didn't ever have a purple one. I had a silver one, and I loved it.
I had a silver one, too.
It was the limited
edition, especially the Wavebird.
Yeah, I still have that. Actually, that's my daughter's controller. I let her play with my old Wavebird. So we know the controller things. They played a bunch of different stuff. It was interesting because, it's now being speculated, right? There was a Mario game. It looked like some kind of Skyrim, maybe, even though
that's the game it looked like they showed the most too.
I wonder why that could be. I mean, you mentioned demographic there earlier, Newman. Apparently, they really want your monies.
And yet, Bethesda says they're not.
Skyrim.
Yeah. Bethesda says they're not necessarily working on. They are not confirming working on Skyrim.
Plausible deniability because Switch. Nintendo will sue them. Come on.
But no, the word is that was just a mock-up that they put together for Nintendo. It's not necessarily representative of any final product.
They wouldn't have done that if they weren't working on something for them, though.
Yeah, that's what I think.
But
that's what I think. So based on what we saw, other than what I just mentioned, or you can also opine, what did you like about what you saw in the video? I mean, because my initial impressions were, it looks great. I kind of like the little dock thing. It's sleek. It's small. Other thoughts?
I like that they're going more in a... this looks more like a piece of consumer electronics rather than a toy. Even going to the... I mean, they've been heading in a decent direction for a little while now. The Wii U is a step up from a design standpoint from, the GameCube, which I keep going to. as the
Come on, it had a handle on it.
I
It's
know.
Yeah, I know.
Point
In
consoles.
case Karen wanted to take it with her, she could. Got a convenient handle. So she's got the GameCube by her handle, and she's got her Wavebird, and she's good to go. But I mean, like you mentioned, it does look pretty slick. You seem to have. Well, I don't want to continue with that because it makes it sound like I'm positive on it, and I've got some. For me, my main issue, I'll be getting it no matter what. I'm excited for it no matter what. But the things that I find encouraging about it are because it looks like they're positioning it well. It's not so much that I like the look of Switch because you can take console quality gaming on the go, because that doesn't mean quite so much to me because I don't do a lot of traveling. So what am I going to do? Am I going to take it to work? I'd never get any work done, and may still end up.
You're gonna
happening.
take it to your friend's rooftop party.
I guess so. We'll have to look into that. But I mean, like for someone like you, Nick, that travels a lot, I'm enthusiastic about it because it's a great product for you.
Well, that's not saying much because
and I like seeing
portable gaming is in of itself odd, particularly when you're a business professional and you're walking around with a giant tablet device with controllers on it. People look. But yeah, I mean, it could work.
Well, I mean, since when have any of us cared about that?
Oh,
about how we look playing.
I always worry about it.
But no, I mean, I think from a positioning standpoint, I think this is very significant for them because this is Nintendo finally realizing what it is that they do well. For the longest time since 1989, everyone's fairly commonly held the belief that Nintendo is a handheld company. They are the king of the handheld devices, much to Sony's chagrin. Now with this, they have taken their core competency and they've subdivided it up into, now you've got 3 tiers. So if you want the cheap and easy route, you can play something mobile on your phone. You don't even need to buy any extra equipment for it. If you, presumably, because we haven't heard that they have any intention of discontinuing 3DS, but presumably, if you want to play something mid-tier, handheld, you've got the 3DS for that, where you'll still presumably, again, have the next Pokemon game. Well, I mean, you definitely will, because Sun and Moon's coming out this December, I believe it is. And then if you want like a console experience on the go, handheld gaming yet again, Switch has you covered there. So this is them kind of tripling down so that what they've had carved out a pretty good niche for themselves over the last 20, 25 years. Now they've got cornered from multiple points of entry for whichever tier of customer is interested.
Which is interesting because, I mean, I think that I'm very pleased, actually, to your point, to see them broadening and understanding that there's more to the entire industry. Not that they didn't know this, but I just don't understand why they constantly pigeonholed themselves for several generations. And I don't want to make it sacrilege statements or anything, but you have to wonder at some point, I mean, how much of that was Iwata's direction and the way that he viewed how he wanted to steer the company versus how it's being steered today in terms of market appeal. I mean, what held them back?
I kind of feel like that a lot of that, and this is just suspicion on my part, I don't have any sources or anything to back it up, but I kind of always got the feeling that kind of, we are a toy company and this is our audience that we're going after and all that, going back to what Dave said at the top of the show, or the top of this segment rather, when he was talking about the fact that nothing in the advertising seems to suggest they're marketing for kids. Like they're shooting at 20, 30 somethings.
Right.
And we have to say that Nintendo was always a toy company. They did, children's trading cards before they did any kind of console or electronics too.
But I think this is them kind of bridging away from that, because I think during the Yamauchi era, it was very much, we are a toy company. This is what we do. There is no, and I kind of feel like the Iwata years were kind of a transition away from that, because he was such a firm hand at the wheel. This is how Nintendo does things. There is no other way. That it's taken them now a generation or two of management to kind of crawl out from that and kind of be like, okay, let's look at the wider audience, not the blue ocean, but how do we market this for a modern global market.
Yep. And I think that's interesting that you say that, because I think that is definitely a factor. I mean, you liken it to what was going on with Apple, now that instead of big innovations or huge leaps, they're just iterating.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a similar format. I mean, there was just news today. Brad would cry to know that, even though they make like $100 million a day, their sales are declining year over year or whatever. It's really not very good. So, that's definitely something to take into consideration too.
Got one final thought on the design of the Switch. It looks like a console. It doesn't look like a toy, and it doesn't look like a piece of, furniture like your Xbox and PlayStation does. It's small, it's thin, it looks like a console.
It is very small.
It's
really
small.
Obviously, the core piece of this is, and they've said that the processing happens in the handheld unit.
Yep.
And it's basically, it's probably iPad mini size. Roughly, it's a bit thicker.
Right, with controllers on the end, so longer.
Yeah. But I mean, like the base unit itself, not that it's doing, and we don't know, to be fair, we don't know if it's doing any processing, but if it is, I mean, it's tiny. It's smaller than the Wii U box.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, it is slick.
But
So
then it doesn't really need to be.
No,
because
but...
I keep having this problem too. When I think about it, I keep trying to think of it as a console, and I need to think of it as a gaming tablet that projects to a TV.
I don't know if that necessarily means that you have to lower your expectations. I mean,
no, and I don't think you should, because if a console is a PC nowadays, then a gaming tablet is a console.
Yeah, and
Might the consoles, as well be. It's all merging.
The consoles have tablet processors anyway. I mean, they're customized, but they're the same processor you can get in a tablet.
Yeah, it's all just
exact same
chips and boards.
Yeah, all those ones and zero things that I don't care about. Okay, so that we end on a positive note with this topic before we move on, what's the thing that we really hope for, that we hope that this will be, realistically?
I hope they move into some online games, get some voice acting in a lot of their first-party games.
Oh, that's never going to happen.
I know.
No talking. It's never going to. You will never have a voice for Link ever. Never.
How about third-party support?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it all comes back to. I mean, that's such a huge question, which is why I don't think we even know this answer to at first. But I mean, for me, it comes down to install base. If they can find a way to make this thing take off, then the third-party support will follow. They've got some people lined up for launch, but they always do, and then they tend to run for the hills as soon as they realize that it's not selling too well, like they did with Wii U. But I mean, if it's something that like everybody gets on board with Wii, it's got a real shot, and it's kind of doing its own thing enough that it doesn't need to worry about competing directly with Sony or Microsoft. So I mean, if they can get that install base up, if they can do the talk show circuit, if they can get on Jimmy Fallon, they got a shot with this. Because it's for the first time in a long time, in 10 years, they've got a new concept that's different from what the other guys are doing, that's incredibly easy to understand. And you can just show it to somebody and they get it. And more than that, they don't just get it, they want it. So if they can show it to people, they don't need to worry about trying it out. It's not something like VR, to tie back into the PSVR thing, where you need to try it to get it.
Yep.
If you just need to show it to somebody, you just need to have Jimmy Fallon playing with it. And I mean, they won't be able to keep them in stock. Well, they probably won't be able to keep them in stock anyway, because they tend to have problems with inventory. But still,
yeah. But I mean that you bring up a good point though. But I mean, they did the same thing with Wii U. Reggie was on Fallon, but that was of course before he was the Tonight Show, if I recall. So it's not...
I believe I mean, he was on Fallon, but like the big thing was the combination of Fallon and Oprah. That's what got it all over the place, was between the two of them. It's like, okay, the whole damn world has seen this.
Yeah, and I think they'll do something similar, and it's different enough that I think people will be really interested. Because if you think about it, I mean, if you look at like your iPad or some other tablet device, I mean, there really isn't anything like that today at all, where you just put your tablet in the device and then it does it. I mean, most of it's, quote, AirPlay, wireless. You can, project your screen over the air or whatever.
Yes, but this is not that it's going to have the same kind of wide appeal that the Wii. I mean, I hope it has wide appeal.
I think
it's not going to be in nursing homes like the Wii was. But if it was,
you don't know that. I mean, older people like to use tablets.
I don't know. It depends on the software. It depends on what they have. But if it was in nursing homes, even your grandma could understand it. It's not you have to go into the menu and you have to set up, you have to turn on AirPlay and all that stuff and make sure you detect the right network and all that. It's no, you plug it in, it's good. Just sit it in the dock and then it's up there on the TV. So it seems. We don't know what's actually involved because we haven't seen any of the UI yet.
Yeah, I wonder if you have to like turn it off or reset it or something once you put it in there. I guess it'll depend on it if the box actually does do anything other than just put it up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, it's like there's just so much we don't know yet.
Well, and that's typical. I mean, that's typical Nintendo. We'll find out when everyone else finds out, which will be
but
long after we want to know.
It's 5 months away. I mean, geez. They have I mean, they've always dragged their feet on getting the reveals out there. They've always wanted to control their own message. But they have never gone this late before.
But
and especially since
dying to know about it, and you're gonna buy it anyway.
Well, this is true, so maybe they don't need to. But still, I mean, it's
yep.
We'll find out. I think they need to be careful with what. I don't think they need to, as much as it bothers me that they haven't said anything, they haven't said so much for so long and there's so little time left. They need to be careful about the answers that they have yet to give, because I don't think that the answer to battery life is going to be easily palatable. They need to couch that in something awesome so that they can, you can soften the blow a little bit.
Well, this is Nintendo we're talking about, so don't get that. That's easier said than done.
Yeah, but I mean, the rumors out there, unconfirmed, of course, but the rumors out there are 3 hours. You can have this thing off the dock for 3 hours,
which is not enough.
No,
I heard 4.
Still not enough.
I mean, we'll just have to see. We'll have to see if it comes with a second charger that won't put it up on the TV that you can take with you easily too.
Yeah, no. Don't give it too much credit. I mean, God, how hard was it to get extra controllers and you had to buy a cord for your 3DS when you bought it? I mean, come on. If they find a way to cheapen it, they will. Good luck finding that. Or if it does come out, people will grab it up, the hardcores, and it'll be gone. But anyway, I think generally the hope is that it'll be good. It'll be different. It'll be fun. We will find out in March. Any final closing comments on all things the Nintendo?
There's a puppy plush version of the controller available.
Dear.
Yeah, I saw that.
Sweet.
That's adorable.
Mother of all that is good and holy. Speaking of moving on, I'm so glad you said so, because now we're going to jump right over from Nintendo into our fall preview, where we have deliberately selected several games that are forthcoming that we're pretty jazzed about, and we're going to talk about them. I'm sure you're shocked to hear that, people out there in the universe. But before we get there, I think now would be a good time for station identification, since I forgot it at the top of the show. I know. It's a story of my life. You can check us out at GamerFeed Radio on Twitter. Of course, we're also out there on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and all other places in the known universe. Of course, our Facebook page, give us a like, and subscribe on YouTube. All the podcasts are posted there each week, so we really encourage you to go check it out. Thank you to those of you who have already done that. You are amazing. So, on to the fall preview. These are in no particular order of release date or anything like that. But we'll start with Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which just completed its second weekend of beta. I did not play it because I just didn't.
I never got a chance to get in. I tried the first day when it was down and no one could get in, and I just moved on to other stuff. I just never got back to it while it was still up.
Well, I'm sure we're not going to lose sleep over it, but it's coming this fall.
Yeah.
Thoughts about Call of Duty Infinite Warfare? Newman, what are your thoughts? Are you a Call of Duty fan? I don't even know.
No, I've never been a Call of Duty fan. My
Good.
friends got it after Halo in high school. Played one of them. Kind of hated it, but it's what everybody played, so I played it.
Right. Well, good. that means you can continue to be on the show. That's encouraging. No, I'm kidding. I don't frankly care for it. I mean, I got Black Ops 3 because my brothers and a bunch of my friends were playing it, and I was like, oh, okay. And then, once you go through your 100th round of spawn die with absolutely no time to kill whatsoever, it's just poof, you're dead. There is zero fun in that at all. And not to mention no strategy. I mean, you just run around with a shotgun and shoot people, and frankly, I think the sound effects and graphics are kind of crappy myself, but Call of Duty Infinite Warfare promises to be all the things different, I guess, using the same Call of Duty
looks like
formula.
They wanted to make Halo, but, Call of Duty game.
Yeah, so it's interesting because Activision appears to have stolen literally a page from Bungie of the Halo ilk, as you mentioned, but also Destiny, and they're going for a sci-fi shooter. What do we think about that? I mean, I feel like that market's already crowded, so why are we moving in? Because you think your franchise is going to be better than everybody else's? What?
Yeah, I mean, even if everybody remembers, I'm sure, the huge backlash that the trailer got when it premiered.
Yeah, because it was crap.
Most hated trailer on YouTube, largely because the fan base didn't want to see them keep going back to the future. We keep, whenever there's feedback out there on one of the games, it's like, well, it's a shame that they keep going for the future warfare thing, because that's everybody wants to kind of go back to, modern or earlier. And they keep pushing farther and farther into the future. So when this one came out and it was full blown space, it's like, oh God, really? Are you guys listening at all? No.
I feel like there's World War II shooters, there's modern shooters. Now there's Battlefield 1. And there's a big space in between World War II and modern that they could have used.
Well, and it's interesting. I had Battlefield 1 on the agenda and I took it off. But you're right. I mean, it is an interesting juxtaposition because on the one hand, you've got Activision sprinting to the future to compete with the Halos and Destinies of the world in space. And then you've got Battlefield going back to World War I. It's hilarious because in both cases, I hate both games.
But the challenge with that, though, is that, I mean, on any other year, I think that would be okay. It's Battlefield's coming out. They're doing something different, so perhaps there's room for each to survive and thrive.
Oh my God, the controls
But
suck.
There is a third player in the market, which we'll get to next. But
Yes.
it's the shooter world is getting more and more crowded nowadays, and it would behoove them to carve out a different niche and perhaps spin it as, we're giving the fans what they want. We're going back to modern war. Even though, I mean, I guess the only one really doing modern times right now is the Tom Clancy games between Rainbow Six Siege and The Division, for better for worse, and Ghost Recon. Those are all kind of, modern, near future, not too crazy with the tech, not too sci-fi. But I mean, in terms of like the normal standard first-person shooter, no one else is really there right now. Not that either Call of Duty or Battlefield is, set in their ways of sticking in the time period that they've chosen to be in this year. I mean, the next Battlefield could be, they could do, Battlefield 2041 or whatever. I mean, they could do whatever they wanted to on that side too next year. But yeah, I mean, I think because things are getting more and more crowded, and this is part of why we put this on the agenda, is that we've got 3 different big shooters coming out within like a 2-week span.
Yeah.
And the challenge with that is that everybody kind of gravitates, like shooter fans play shooters, and they tend to move from one game to another en masse. So
Yes.
It's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out this year, and to see how which one of these people are still playing. Because again, I mean, shooter fans, they find a game and they tend, they'll move around a little bit, but when their buddies are playing something, they'll play it too, and then that'll be the same thing they'll be playing, into next summer or whatever, while they're waiting for the next season of games to come out, of shooters to come out. So I mean, I think everybody's going to try out the big 3 this year, and then find out where they're going to settle. And it'd be interesting to see how that ends up going down.
Well, and I think you bring up an interesting point, I think, from a fatigue perspective, because one of my all-time least favorite things in the universe, of course, is Assassin's Creed. And as you know, for a long time there, it was like they're pumping it out like it was going out of style, and each iteration, more bugs, worse and worse, and so on. and they finally just had to ratchet it back because it was ridiculous. And I'm wondering if Activision is getting somewhere close to that with Call of Duty, because you look at things like Black Ops 3, which, you know, still has DLC being released, for crying out loud. So
I'd argue that they're different things. Ubisoft's problem is that they've gotten, because they're putting these things out on a yearly basis, that takes huge teams. And the way Ubisoft decides to do it is that they've got, six or so like teams around the world in different offices around the world working on the same game, like bits and pieces of the same game, rather than one centralized studio, like a larger studio that's working on it. They've got a whole bunch of not even smaller teams, because there's still hundreds and hundreds of people working on these damn things. But it always ends up feeling like it's a problem with bringing all the pieces together that tends to create the problems, because you've got, so and so adds in this piece of code or whatever. And again, I'm not a techie, so I don't truly know what I'm talking about here. But I mean, like, You've got the team from Budapest or whatever puts in this game system into the game they've been working on, and then it's going to break something else that somebody else was working on. That's how you end up with Assassin's Creed Unity, or it's completely bug ridden. But Call of Duty's coming at it from a different direction, where they have, smartly, I would argue, they've got the 3 different teams working on a 3-year cycle, so that each year one of the teams puts a game out.
Yeah,
I think the problem from their end is the overall creative direction of the franchise, to where they're like, okay, all 3 games are going to be set in the future. All 3 games are going to have a zombie mode, blah, blah, blah. I mean, and there's some articles out there on previews for Infinite Warfare, and especially the beta reactions that kind of touch on this a little bit. But the idea of they're trying to crystallize that success and give people what they want, give the fans what they want, which ends up being, they like zombies, so we're going to put a zombie mode in every game. And then, it's classic Activision on some level, because they did the same shit with Guitar Hero. Sorry, there's the expletive.
That's okay. It's still
but
PG.
They did the same thing. They did the same thing with Guitar Hero, where they take these things and they run them into the ground on a yearly cycle. And what's worked well for Call of Duty so far, in that they've got 3 different teams making 3 different games in 3 different time periods. For a while they were doing that. Now that everything's kind of crystallizing towards the same vision that they think is what everybody wants, I think they're going to start running into some serious fatigue with that again.
Well, and I think that remains to be seen, but I agree generally that anytime you have a franchise that's like this, it's just, it doesn't have legs. I mean, you like you said, I play it, another kind of shooter comes out, I jump, I play that, I kind of come back, I lag on it a little bit, and then I jump to something else, unless you're just a hardcore fan, which most of us aren't. So, I don't think there's anything different about that, but it will be interesting to see if the sales are what Activision anticipates. I'm very curious to see how it actually launches, because of the bad press and the bad angst, as you mentioned before.
But even that's going to be tricky to gauge, because you can't do a one-to-one comparison with Battlefield 1, which seems to be the one that's getting most of the buzz right now, aside from the fact that it's already out.
And I have to be honest with you, I don't get that, because I think Battlefield 1 is junk.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's your opinion. You played them, so played it, so
junk.
I didn't get a chance to.
I mean,
I'm just saying,
I can appreciate the World War I shooting mechanic, literally, but no thanks.
I mean, I haven't played it, but I totally get where you're coming from, in that we've been doing near future and future war for so long that it's hard to go back to those limited weapon sets.
Right.
And even then, like, as much as they might want to play up the fact that it's period authentic, there are certain things like, there's an awful lot of machine guns in Battlefield 1, from what I'm hearing, because that's what modern gamers are used to. And even though they weren't as prevalent as they seem to be in the game in real life, they kind of upped that a little bit, because they're like, well, people need something a little bit closer to what they're used to playing.
Yeah, well,
so that kind of cuts both ways.
Yeah. Well,
but I was going to say that it's going to be tricky to compare numbers between the two, because Call of Duty is bundled with Modern Warfare, which is something that people do want, which is something that people would not hate on the trailer like they did with the Infinite Warfare one on YouTube. Because that's the thing that people do want back, is a remade version of Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4.
Because
of that,
Well, we
See.
we will see. I mean, we will see exactly to your point. Okay, we need to move on.
Okay.
Up. So Call of Duty, meh. Titanfall 2. Newman, what are your thoughts on Titanfall? Did you play the original?
I've seen a trailer for it. No, I did not play the original. I'd never heard of it until the second one was coming out, and they did not have an open beta for it.
Yeah. Yeah, they
So
did. The open beta was...
Well,
did they have it on PC?
Well,
I don't think they
nobody
did,
does
and that's what
anything on
Newman's
PC
saying.
for you.
Battlefield did.
Well, you could go buy
didn't-
Battlefield
yeah,
and enjoy their very terrible shooting mechanics.
Shit, I played their beta. I don't want to buy it.
Yeah.
But no,
you win a beer. You win a beer.
The beta that we played, was that PS4 only, or was that on Xbox One also? Do you happen to know, Nick?
I think it was... I don't know. I think it was both.
I thought, okay.
I thought it was both because...
Maybe. I know they decided to skip EA early access with it.
Well, whatever that crap. I don't care about any of that crap. But anyway, I love the beta. I raved about it on the podcast, and it's coming soon. And the hype train on that game for me is faux real because I loved the beta. In fact, it was really funny because I remember commenting on this very show that it's just so smooth. I mean, it's like butter. You know, you're just running around in this beautiful smooth butter, and you just shoot things, and you have the little chain link thing, grappling hook that comes out of your hand, and then you throw a nade, and you do this, and you jump, and it's just all so fluid. It's not like Call of Duty where you're like, you're like running side to side on the screen, and you can feel it. I mean, there's like a genuine like feeling in the controller that you're this big, massive behemoth thing, and it's like, no, I just want to go shoot the guy. Can we just get there already? But I am super stoked. I mean, I've gone back and watched every preview, every video, every thing they put on their website, and I want it right now. I do have it pre-ordered. I did not, like Newman, play the original. In fact, I didn't even know that the game existed, but after playing the beta, I was completely sold. And by the way, the beta was not campaign. The beta was multiplayer exclusive. And
yeah. Well, there's a training level, but yeah.
Well, yeah, and I fell in love with it. And I'm not a big PvP guy, not big. It's growing on me. So for me to make a purchasing decision based on a game mode that I'm not particularly fond of says something, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really excited for it too. I hadn't played the first one. I remember when it came out though, and I was intrigued by it, but majorly turned off by the whole no campaign thing. I hate when games go that direction. Mm-hmm. Like, no, we don't need a campaign. And I hope this works out well for them, because the fans said we want a campaign,
so they made one.
It didn't work out too well for them in terms of player base retention. Because people played it for a little while and they moved on with the first one. So the fans said, we want a campaign. They listened to them. They made a campaign. By all rights, it sounds like it's really good. And I hope that pays it off for them in terms of sales. Because I hope they get the encouragement that I want them to take away from this. Now that said, there's a bit of a challenge there too, because EA is putting out this game against their own game, Battlefield 1, within like a week or two of each other. So they're potentially eating into their own sales there, to say nothing of going up against COD directly there too. But I'm really excited about it too. I played the beta for Titanfall 2. It is very smooth. It is very there's a lot of mobility. I think that because of that, it kind of cuts its own path for itself in terms of multiplayer shooters. Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel like Battlefield. It doesn't feel like Call of Duty. It's got its own thing. It's very arcadey.
It's different, and I wish I could
you've got
put my
the
finger
max,
on it. Yeah, and I wish I could put my
which are
finger
just
on
awesome.
it. What that thing is that really I liked about it, other than, because as everybody knows, I'm a big Destiny guy. I love Destiny, and it's slower PvP action, right? Time to kill takes effort. I mean, there's some strategy. It's a very different kind of game, of Bungie fame, but this was more fast paced. It's a different way of thinking. I don't know what I loved. I don't know if I can explain what I loved about it, but just actually playing it, I was like, this is sweet. I've got to have this game. And everybody I know honestly, that played it bought it, pre-ordered it. Everybody.
I mean, honestly, just from looking at it, and I haven't played a whole lot of Overwatch, so I can't say. But I mean, just looking at gameplay footage of the two of them, I feel like there's a similarity there in terms of movement. Because I'm always when I'm watching people play Overwatch, I'm always seeing like a lot of fluidity, a lot of sailing over the battlefield and sniping fools in midair and all sorts of stuff like that.
Just watch Newman play. None of that happens. None of that. No, I'm kidding.
Depends on who you're playing as, because every character moves differently in that game.
That's fair. That
is what makes it beautiful.
Yeah.
Something like that, I mean, I guess. So anyway, I'm pretty jazzed about it. So I don't know if it's coming for PC or if it'll have any kind of PC compatibility. Newman, I have no idea, so you might be left out.
It is coming to PC.
Oh, good. Well, you good on you. It comes highly recommended from two people who have no clue what they're talking about. And on that note, moving on in the preview stuffs, we've kind of touched on this before, but because it's getting closer and closer to the new release date, Final Fantasy 15 comes out later this fall. I wish Kyle were here to talk to me about it.
I know.
But he's not. And so that's okay because I have no problems. So as many people know, I got the long 4-hour Final Fantasy 15 in-game demo with another purchase a year or so ago, and I never really played it. I was like, oh, I'm stoked, but it's so far away, I'm over it. And then as we got closer, I jumped in and played it, and I'm telling you, that demo is amazing. And the demo even got like patches, which is unheard of. The graphics are stunning. The mechanics are simple. It's easy to understand. It's this futuristic-y techy, but it's got the throwback stuff that I'm particularly fond of. I like the futuristic-y stuff, but only to a certain extent. And then I'm like, come on, can we just go blow somebody up with an ice cube? That would be great. Blizzaga would be fantastic right about now. But baked into the Final Fantasy universe, the early previews of people who have played it, who've gotten an opportunity to get their hands on some pieces of it, are just raving. I'm very curious to see what the reviews will actually be, if it will hold up, given the game has been outstanding for so long. But it's finally coming, and I'm telling you, just if it's anything at all like the Disgaea demo, which I'm fairly confident it is, it's going to be my big time suck for most of the beginning of 2017. I mean, no one's going to see me online. I'll just be by myself playing Final Fantasy 15 offline. I might have a party chat open or something, but other thoughts, Rob?
I'm not as geeked for it as you are, but my interest is starting to be piqued by it a little bit, just because I'm looking at Final Fantasy 14 and wishing I could play it, but realizing that it's not approachable enough anymore. So I'm starting to look for, it'd be nice if there were it'd be nice if there were a traditional RPG for me to play. And that in mind, I'm like, oh, maybe 15. Maybe I'll take a look at it. So I'm sure you'll have some. I'm sure you'll have some gameplay. The problem is that I've got so many other games I'm playing. I've got a stack of 4 sitting on my my console now. I've got another 2 coming by the end of the week with Titanfall and Skyrim. And Skyrim's going to be my last blast of this year, of this release season,
you
because
PlayStation person, you so cute, don't you know?
But, I mean, that's going to be the thing I save for last, because it's going to eat my life for a while there, too. So probably about the same time that you're going to be playing Final Fantasy 15. So.
Well, that is unfortunate that you are missing it because you're a fool.
I'm not counting it out, is what I'm saying.
Well, what you need to do is come over here and play the demo. That's what y'all's needs to do, and your mind will be decided instantaneously.
You just keep saying that. Hey, can we do a We could do the thing where you can. Could you share control of it to me, so where I don't have to leave my apartment?
I would love to say that both of us have the
because I've never done that
stable bandwidth to support that, but I have to be honest with you, I've never been able to get it to work with anybody.
Oh, okay.
And I have a lot of bandwidth, so but I can't ever get it to work. So maybe it's me. I don't know.
It's worth a shot though. Sometime.
There's an input lag on that kind of thing too, which like drives people crazy.
Yeah,
like a significant one.
So, what do you think about Final Fantasy 15? Newman, have you ever played any of the Final Fantasy series?
The only one that I've played start to finish is Tactics Advance, which was a great game.
Yes, it is. Different than the mainline Final Fantasy, but an excellent side game series for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy 15 looks good, but until they officially announce it for PC, I got nothing. Which, I mean, supposedly...
You just need to get a console. You need to just come on over, get a console. Play the games, all the games.
All the games. I played plenty of Overwatch.
I don't believe you. All right. If Kyle were here, there would be another 5 minutes of Final Fantasy, but we will move on.
He's really looking forward to it.
I know. Oh, he is just crawling out of his skin. I know he's going to call me like the day of and be like, dude, we totally have to get together right now. Okay. Next up, we've talked about this a little bit before on the show periodically. Mostly the last time, I think, after the last delay was announced. Go figure. But The Last Guardian, another one of those, it's been in the works forever. Hurry it up, sister. Is coming later this fall. So, I know Brad gushes about it. It's going to be amazing. It's, Team Ico and all those guys. It's going to be the best thing ever. My God, baby, it's going to be so good. But I'm not sold. Still not sold. I know Kyle is kind of on that hype train also with Brad, which is kind of cute. But I'm not on the hype train as much as I've seen about it. And I like the art design and the concept, and I really enjoyed Shadow of the Colossus and some other Team Ico work from the past. I'm not feeling it. Rob?
I mean, I've got it pre-ordered. I'm looking forward to it, but my expectations are muted. And I think because of that, I'll be perfectly fine with it. I'll enjoy it. But I worry that so many people's expectations are through the roof for this that it's going to be maybe not to quite the level that No Man's Sky was, but people are going to be disappointed.
I think they are too. That's funny that you say that because that's exactly my impression. Exactly my impression that it's going to be meh. I mean, the people who are going to love it are going to love it, but I don't think there's not much there. What are you going to do? Run around and fly around on the weird rat dog? I mean, come on. Who might be your pet, who might save you, who might not save you, but nobody knows what's going on. I mean, talk about a game that we know literally nothing about. I mean, at least No Man's Sky lied about what it could do. You know what I mean? Like, do we really know anything? We know nothing about plot. We don't know, background. Does it connect to any of the... We know nothing about it. It's just like this unknown quantity that everybody's like, oh my God, because it's a certain group of people that developed it, I want to go get it. That, to me, is stupid.
Well, I mean, that's not to drag Brad into this or anything like that, but I mean, it's the same...
He's not here, so we're allowed. Gently, of course.
Well, I mean, it's the same sort of thing as Death Stranding. People know nothing about that game. They're through the roof already about it, just because it's Kojima.
All we know is we have 5 diamonds in the sky. In the distance.
I saw a video of somebody starting to play Last Guardian, and it made me want it. It looks really cool.
See, yeah. But what about it? I mean, is it just because it looks cool, or what if
it looks like it's fun and has good mechanics? The giant animal actually looks like it's curious about things.
Let's be honest,
it
looks like
an
a rat
animal.
dog. Can we please call it a rat dog? Because that's what it looks like.
I thought it was looked like a cat with wings.
A cat with wings. See, I see a rat dog. I'm gonna call it a rat dog until it has a name that I can adopt. I'm gonna
call it John.
John. How about we call it Brad? That
we
way,
don't know anybody with that name.
We know who to blame. God, Brad. I don't know, man.
I swear he participates in the show more when he's not here than he does when he's here.
That's not true. That PlayStation virtual reality show was evil. Like, one Brad M. Wallace on Twitter was he was getting feisty. He was. And Newman, you were there. I mean, you were sitting with him, and I was like, oh my God, he's going to chew Newman's head off, and then he's going to come after us through the mics.
I didn't think it sounded that bad just to listen to.
Well,
I
no,
didn't
mean, it
think
was
he sounded that
but
testy, but
no, it was
I mean
entertaining.
he was definitely in his "come on guys, you just don't understand" mode.
Well, that's why
Because
I
he was
kept
trying.
asking
Because he
Newman.
was.
I kept asking. I'm like, Newman, as one who is very
Are you
objective.
texting Newman on the side during the show? Like, dude, he's barely holding on here. We got to do,
No, but that's very comical because I probably should have. No, I was taking shots while Brad was talking. But no, I mean, like, that was that part of the good thing that Newman was there because at least it was semi-tempered. It was like, okay, Newman, give me the real story. And he was like, it's cool, man. Like... It is chill.
Not life changing.
Yeah. I didn't. I can't say that out loud. So many comments, so little time. But anyway, look. I mean, poor Brad. But I mean, anytime we have this hype stuff, like The Last Guardian. Look, I mean, I get it. The Shadow of the Colossus was a terrific game. I really enjoyed it a lot. But I just don't know enough about this. I'm definitely not going to pre-order it. I will wait till I see all the reviews. I will wait until I have an opportunity to watch some gameplay demos and see what actually happens with the rat dog. Do you ride it? Do you kick it? Do you choke? I mean, what are you doing with
You get to ride it.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I think it's an environmental puzzle platformer. I mean, you're going through the levels with this bird dog,
rat dog,
and bird dog. It has wings. Rats don't have wings. Neither rats nor
I'm giving
dogs
it the
have
fantasy
wings.
element by
dog.
allowing the rat dog to have wings.
But a bat dog.
Anyway.
Anywho.
But like you're working your way through the level, but you're dealing with this thing that has to, like swing you to platforms and things like that. Only it doesn't always do what you say. So there's like it's the understanding is that there's like a learning curve with it. Like the more time you spend with it, the more obedient it becomes.
Oh, how Tamagotchi life! I'm over it.
Oh.
I don't know, man. I just that kind of thing doesn't do it for me generally because then you end up spending more time on the micro managing of the stupid rat dog. It almost rubbed off on me, but I wouldn't allow it.
I think it's a bat dog.
And some of the IGN people were saying that too. That from their hands-on at E3 that this is okay now, but over the course of the entire game, if it wasn't listening to a damn thing I was saying the entire time, that would get really old.
Yeah,
so there's a question as to how that's going to play out in the full game.
I don't know.
So
man.
hopefully they took that piece of feedback and have decided to adjust accordingly for the final build.
I don't know.
But I mean, it's gone gold, so whatever it is now is what it'll be when we get it.
Well, that means nothing to me. Well, for those of you who are big fans and you're going to love it, good luck. Enjoy feeding your pet that won't listen to you. How like life, as the French would say. Any other random add-ons for fall preview? Anything else that we're looking forward to that maybe we didn't? I mean, I just wanted to make sure we touched on the big stuff. Is there anything else that we missed? Or
I'm excited for Skyrim Special Edition.
I am too.
Go on.
Well, it's out this Friday.
Yeah, I'm checking my Steam library because I said that it was preloaded on here, but I don't see it yet.
Mm.
And you're just excited because you can be, or what?
Yeah, it's got a lot of new mod tools for it.
Oh my god. I can't wait till you guys come back and listen to this with all the screaming and evil laughs and explosion sounds and doors and everything else. It's going to be epic.
I'm sure the final product of this would work so much better if you weren't telling us every time there's sound effects there. Like if you just put them in quietly.
I have been the whole show. I have been the whole show. I'm not saying that just then I was doing it.
People are going to be listening to this. Noise. Yeah, and people are going to be listening to this and like there's a witch's cackle or something like that. And then Nick's like, and now I'm playing a witch's cackle. It's like, oh.
Anyway.
Oh.
So, anything else about Skyrim? Yay, it's coming. I mean, isn't the game been out for ages? What?
I mean, I'm looking forward to it exactly for that reason because it came out forever ago. It's one of the
well, you're a big nerd.
Kind of one of the benchmark games, I would argue, among people that have played it anyway. I mean, in terms of size of world and amount of
Depth.
stuff to do, depth, yeah. I mean, this is kind of one of the benchmark games for kind of open worldy type games. I'm really looking forward to it because I didn't get it. I haven't had a chance to play it yet.
Yeah, me either.
It's
But I'm
kind
not
of
going to go buy it.
well, I mean that's fine, but I mean like, because I get to be late to the party and finally understand what everybody else is talking about, and because I'm coming relatively recently off of Fallout 4, I'm excited to play another Bethesda game. Since it's going to be a while probably until Fallout 5 comes out.
I know I'm being a butt about it, but meh.
You are. You do that with anything that you're not looking forward to. Like
No,
you can't
I'm not saying I'm
fathom
not
why
looking
somebody
forward to it.
else would.
Well, I'm allowed, first of all. But no,
Well,
it's
okay,
not that
well-
I'm not looking forward to it. I always look forward to really great games that are coming out that make people happy, because that's good for gaming and that gives us a forum to talk about stuff. But
I was waiting for some backhanded dismissive comment there, and you didn't put one in.
because this
Maybe
is
you're
a
adding
family show,
Maybe you're
Rob,
adding it in post.
this is this is a family show. No, I mean, look, I'm always happy that there's something good out there that people are stoked about. I just don't get it because it's been out forever without any kind of significant, substantive, mega
You're
update.
trying to- Okay, so you're trying to understand the value added for people a lot of the gaming audience out there that has experienced it before.
Yeah,
Perhaps
or for a
speak to
game
that
that's been
since
out
he
there
has played it.
forever. You know, it's like if you haven't played it by now, there's probably a reason why.
Well, like Newman said, there's a lot of mod stuff added that he has a chance to play with now, so
Dear
he can
sweet
kind of
God.
reshape the world to his whim.
I mean, I guess if you got a tinker like that, but I don't. That doesn't make. I mean, to each his own, of course. That's just not my bag. Hey, I want to make this thing look like a Smurf. Why? Because it's funny. Who cares?
Why wouldn't you want a dragon that looks like Randy the Macho Man Savage? Why
Because
wouldn't
that's ignorant.
You can play as Wolverine.
I mean, okay, that's cool. Anyway, I don't want to hang on it too much, but good on you. Have fun. Let me know how it goes. I can't wait to do a save point with the both of you in several weeks, and you can tell us gush annoyingly about how wonderful it is and how you made the dragon turn into something inappropriate and, rode it around the universe. Any other games that are coming out that you think we should hit on quickly before we wrap this show in a timely fashion? Successfully, I might add.
Quickly, while we're on Skyrim, Newman, do you want to talk any on the significance of the fact that they've revealed that the amount of space you'll have for mods on PS4 is like 1 gig, while Xbox One, I believe, is 5 gigs?
The big thing with the mods is that on the PS4 version, they won't let you use any assets from anywhere outside of the game. So you can't add anything in. You can just move them around and duplicate them. So you probably don't need more than 1 gigabyte for that.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
I mean, I think that's terrible. That's what they're doing, but that's, I guess, what they did to Fallout also, which kind of destroys 90% of the purpose.
Yeah, I just don't understand why you would add in a feature when you're going to do it as half-heartedly. There, I almost said something else, but I didn't. Half-heartedly, as Sony seems to be with this. I don't understand where they're coming from with this whole.
Bethesda advertised it, so they're sort of stuck in a corner. And if that's the only way Sony's going to let them do it, they still have to do it.
Yeah, they might have just spoken out of turn. I wonder how that whole thing started.
But why does PlayStation even have to offer that? Why can't you just enjoy the game for what it is and get over it?
Because Xbox does.
Who cares? I don't give a flying rat's what's going on over there. Those people can go do what they want. Good luck. I don't have your console. I don't care. If you want to mod it, go buy an Xbox and play it over there. Peace out.
But, I mean, some people, like when Bethesda says, hey, this is coming, then the Sony audience speaks up and says, well, why aren't we getting that?
Well, wow.
So you need to have parity between the two.
Oh, there's so many parallels to life. You can't always get what you want. And if you want it, spend $300 to Microsoft and enjoy that. Giddy up. Bye.
Oh, at that point, skip the console and get the PC because there's a lot of hoops you got to jump through to get the mod from the PC to the console.
Say that.
Well, in order to add your own mod to the store now, you have to own the game on PC and on the console that you're adding it for.
Because
Oh.
the only way you can make the
It's
mod
so
is if you own.
complicated.
The only way you can make the mod is if you own the game for the PC. So what happened was a lot of people with Fallout were just stealing other people's work without testing it at all on the console, and it was breaking a bunch of people's games.
Well, as much as I appreciate the creativity of the gaming community, I don't know. Like I said, we'll do a save point, and I will more silently and less protestingly listen eagerly to your feedback. Any other games, thoughts about stuffs? Anything at all?
I think I'm good.
I think we got Skywind, which is a community project to port the what game was it? Morrowind into Skyrim is going to be on special edition now, but who knows if that's ever going to happen.
Interesting. Well, you should find an article about it and post it on the Facebook page, and everyone should check it out. Speaking of which, as some of the music starts to come up, because I can narrate it like that.
Yeah, we guessed by the awkward silence.
Well, multitasking is a weakness. Anyway, hopefully everybody enjoyed the show. If you have thoughts, you can definitely comment on Facebook. As I mentioned just briefly before, you can also hit us up on Twitter at GamerFeedRadio, and of course on iTunes and iHeartRadio, or your favorite pod streaming service. Definitely check us out. And last, of course, but not least, you should subscribe on YouTube. All the podcasts are there, and you get little notifications when they get uploaded every Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern for your convenience. Next week, we don't know what the topic's going to be yet, but it'll be something fun and crazy as it always is, and we look forward to having everyone with us. Until next time, gamers, peace!